In 1863, Charles Maitland, a Scottish brewer, actually patented the modern day mash tun. But this wasn't Charles's first patent. When he was working at a local distillery, he patented an apparatus for heating water more efficiently. But what made his mash tun patent unique wasn't because the water was heated more effectively. It was actually because he was wetting the grains earlier and quicker, which allowed for a quicker mash in because they weren't having clumps of dried up mash, preventing everything from moving or needing this huge industrial machinery to turn everything. It allowed it to get wet sooner. They don't know when he came up with this idea, but it was completely revolutionary to modern day brewing. As we know it, we still do those practices today. Have you ever heard of the Millard reaction, and why does it matter for brewing? Basically what it is the amino acids and the sugars and how they change when cooked at high temperatures. Similar to what they do with malts and they're getting roasted, right? This is how you get your darker beers. This is how you get big, bold flavors. It's really similar to when you're cooking steak or you're roasting marshmallows and that dark browning that happens when you're cooking things at a high temperature and how it completely changes the flavor. It's exactly what happens when you're kilning malts. Did you know that the temperature of which malts are mashed actually directly affects the sugar outcome? Lower temperatures create more sugars. Higher temperatures create more complex flavors, but actually less fermentable sugars. Decoction mashing. Have you ever heard of it? Because I had not. It's this really old school traditional way of brewing where you actually remove part of the mash, you bring it to a boil, you put it back in the mash to raise the temperature. Why do this? It's because it increases the flavors of the grains themselves. And it's often used in beers like Czech and German style lagers. Love that smoky flavor in a beer, but wonder how brewers get that? It is not from using liquid smoke. At least I hope not. Because that'd be super, super gross. Even though technically the beer after is still kind of like a liquid smoke. But it's not the point. It actually comes from them roasting the barley over open flames. And that barley then absorbs the smoke flavors, of which those flavors transform into the beer itself that you're drinking and love. Yum. But if you're not that into the smoky flavors, that's totally fine. It's an acquired taste. And if you're more into the sweeter beers, crystal malt is what gets the credit for that. How do they do it? They actually roast it while the malt is still wet, which crystallizes the sugars within the capsules themselves, which gives you that awesome toffee flavor that you like in some of those maltier beers that you love. Can't do gluten? Not a problem. Just start drinking beers that are brewed with either sorghum, millet, or rice, and you're fine. There's no gluten in them. Great, easy way to still drink some delicious beer. And lastly, a drum roll. What is a drum roaster and why do I care? It was actually invented in 1817 by Daniel Wheeler. Why does this matter? Well, if you like porters and stouts, this is the machine that allowed to get deeper roasts in the malts more consistently, drastically increasing the demand for these delicious dark beers from your malts, because we're all about malts today. Malts. This episode. Gah. Gah. That's all I got. All about the malts, guys. Hope you enjoyed it.